All right. Good morning, everyone. I want to introduce you this morning to Jennifer Riegel, who's from Augustana University, an instructional designer. And our first session in this track focuses on something many of us are looking for, how to actually reduce our workload with AI. Jennifer will talk us through how assistants can take on repetitive tasks while still keeping human judgment at the center. This is a great session, and if you're looking for practical ways to get started without losing quality. So join us, Jennifer. Take it away.
All right. So I want you guys to imagine this. You're walking in the hall to your first class of the semester, and you almost got like a little bit of a hop in your step because this is a topic you are passionate about, one that you're so excited about, and you get to share it with students. So you get to the door, open the door, and there's no one in the classroom. But that's okay. You have like 5 minutes or so before class starts, so you have time to get ready, and students still have time to come in. So you go to the front, open up your laptop, you're like, okay, first thing I need to do is get my syllabus ready. And you go to your file, it's not there. Okay, maybe it's in your Google Drive. You go to your Google Drive, you open a file, it's not there. You look in your search bar, syllabus, it's nowhere to be listed. Class is gonna start in 5 minutes and you have no syllabus to speak of. Now, I know in reality, this type of thing probably wouldn't happen because you would have created a syllabus weeks, if not months, prior to the course actually starting. And it would be saved in several locations. But for the sake of this story, let's say that you were the only one that would have a syllabus, and this would be the first time your students are seeing it. So then that comes to the question of, can you create a syllabus in 5 minutes? I think you can. But instead of me trying to explain to you how you can do something like this in 5 minutes or less, I want you guys to actually experience it. So what I would love for everybody to do is I want you guys to open up your favorite chatbot. So that could be Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever it is, go ahead and open it up. If it is Gemini, then I actually have a link that I will drop in the comments that you guys can go directly to the AI assistant that I've created for an activity. But if you have a different chatbot, I'll do a different link. So that way you guys, there'll be just one extra step, but it won't take much. So for Gemini, let me drop that link for you. You might have to copy and paste it into your URL. But it should open directly. I'll show you guys what it looks like once you do. 1 second while my technology catches up. So then it would look like that. So if you are using Gemini, just sit tight for a second. But if you're using a different chatbot, then I'll drop a different link in the comments. Give me one more moment. Oops. And thank you, Mike, for your help. And what this will look like if you're using a different chatbot is you will get a Google Doc. Just go ahead and make a copy. And then just highlight all of it. So I like to do Control A, Control C. And then let's say you're using ChatGPT. Then you can go in there and just paste it and hit enter. And then it will populate the activity that we're about to start. So what I want you guys to do with this is just think about a course that you would like to, that maybe you are teaching or maybe that you would love to teach, and base this syllabus that you're about to create around it. And we're going to put this to the test because I want to see if you guys can, I've tested this out myself, but I want to see if you guys can create a syllabus in under 5 minutes. Okay. So I'll give you guys just a moment. Let me know in the comments if you have any trouble. But if you guys are ready, then you can start by interacting with your chatbot, and you can say hi or you introduce yourself. Either or will work, and then it will get going. Okay, so without further ado, I will get this timer started to see if we can beat the clock. Okay, here we go. Good luck.
Jennifer, looks like a few of our participants are done with their syllabus. You have it. That was in like 3 minutes. So do you have any questions, or do you have any questions for the audience who's been working with this assistant, like what about their experience making before waiting for the last couple months to wind down?
Actually, I will definitely go into that as we move forward. But if anybody wants to drop in just their thoughts in the comments of what they thought about like the AI assistant or or like the quality of the syllabus, just any thoughts or opinions that you have, then I'd love to share them and see what you guys' experiences are from your perspective.
Someone posted their entire syllabus in here. I tried to. That's awesome. Looks like it's working.
Yes.
It's working. We got some Dunzos in the chat. Let's go, Lee. Getting his syllabus done in 4 minutes. Neat. Rachana says it was great.
Got about a minute.
I gotta verify it with turn it in. That's awesome.
All right, it is just wrapping up on the time. I actually paused a few times, so you guys might have gotten just a little bit more than 5 minutes. But overall, it seems like a lot of people got a chance to finish their quick syllabus. So all things considered, you would have been prepared for that class if it were actually happening. So let's go back to my presentation. Let me get this back screen shared. But let's just take a step back and kind of consider like what just happened. So we had a task that we needed to complete. There we go. We had a task that we needed to complete, and we had to complete it fast. And we had a lot of ideas that we really needed to focus and refine. And even though creating a syllabus is probably not the most fun thing to do, I actually hope you guys had a little fun creating this. I just saw in the comments that somebody said Duncan probably has a monocle, that he was a little sassy. And honestly, that was very intentional when I created it. So I'm glad that it came through on your guys' side as well. And this type of task is pretty characteristic of what everybody kind of runs into, that there's some sort of daily struggle that we have to do that is like a task that is similar to this that we have to complete. And in a lot of cases, there's a lot of tasks like that we have to do. And it takes up a lot of our brain power and a lot of our time. And we don't have as much time to think about or do the part of our job that we really, really love. And that's where I think AI assistants can really help with and really help streamline it, because it can really help the process of these types of tasks to kind of guide them along and just make them go faster. They can help brainstorm and plan, they can refine ideas, they can give feedback, and they can do so much more. It just all depends on how you set it up. So before we jump into how you would create an AI assistant, we need to understand how do they work. So generally speaking, I like to think of them as kind of creating like a mini job description. So like, what is the role? What rules and expectations do they have? And what steps and processes do you want it to follow in order to complete the task? And generally speaking, AI assistants are best at structures and patterns, first drafts of something like a syllabus, or multiple iterations of something or some action. So at this point, AI has been around for a bit, so everybody's interacted with AI to some degree. And I just want to definitely differentiate the difference between prompting and AI assistants. So with prompting, it usually has a one-time request, and with that, it doesn't have any memory to go off of. And because of that, you don't have very consistent results. But with AI assistants, if you set it up well, then you can have repeatable outcomes. It has specific boundaries and it has a reliable and persistent role. So let me put this in perspective. So let's say you go home and you want to create some sort of dinner with the ingredients that you have in your fridge and pantry. And so you're like, oh, maybe I can plug this into ChatGPT or Gemini. So you list out the ingredients, you tell it your dietary restrictions, your allergies, that you want to make it in 30 minutes, and maybe you want it to be an Italian dish. And then it populates a recipe for you, and you're like, oh, that worked out pretty good. I actually want to do that like every night. So then if you were to use prompting every night, then you would have to do all of those aspects over and over and over again. But if you use an AI assistant, you can actually plug all of that information and, preferences, restrictions, anything into it, and you can make it function so that way all you have to do is type in the ingredients, and then it will give you the recipe based off of what you want, whether it's the type of dish, the time frame, or any restrictions or preferences you have. And so in that example, like, you are streamlining your experience so much faster because all you have to do is type in ingredients instead of a paragraph prompt every time. And you have something that you can rely on because you know that it's cognizant of the preferences and restrictions that you've already put in place. So now that we understand how AI assistants kind of work, we can start focusing on how we would build one. So when it comes to building an AI assistant, you need to have specific aspects that will make a really well-rounded AI assistant. So every AI assistant needs a role, who the audience is, a tone, and a process and boundary, I should say. So with that, I'll kind of go through an example of each of those aspects, and then maybe talk a little bit about what to consider when you're creating it yourself. So for my first example, you are an AI instructional design assistant who helps faculty plan, organize, and revise course materials. With this one, the two parts of it is the title of the role and the goal of it. So the goal is the most important part because that's exactly what the AI assistant needs to know in order to accomplish the task. The title, the AI instructional design assistant, isn't quite necessary, but it does actually help the AI assistant hone in their focus a little bit more. And with that in mind, I think a good rule of thumb when creating any AI assistant is try to get as specific as possible, because then it can really help your AI assistant focus on the task that it needs to complete in the most concise way possible. And my last side note with this part is that you don't have to include the AI part of it. You could just do you are an instructional design assistant. So that part is interchangeable. Okay, so once you have the role figured out, then you can jump to the audience. Who is it going to be helping? And in my example, I have you are supporting undergraduate faculty who teach face-to-face and online courses in higher education. In this example, I could probably stop just right after faculty and that would be enough. But like I said before, adding more specificity helps the AI be even better at its job. So by adding the secondary part, it helps the AI assistant to understand the environment that it's helping its audience in, which will ultimately help the experience of your audience that much more. Okay, for tone, some people might think that this is not an important part, but honestly, I think it plays such a great role in how the audience experiences it. So for example, in the activity that you guys just experienced, I was very intentional with the tone that I chose because I wanted the experience for you guys to be very lighthearted and kind of silly and just fun. So for my Duncan the Detective, I had the tone be energetic, overly confident, and I think a little humorous. And I think that really came through for my AI assistant. So that's something that I want you guys to consider whenever you're creating one, because it will impact how your audience experiences it. So in this example, I have use a professional, friendly, and concise tone, avoid jargon, be supportive, not authoritative. Quite honestly, this type of tone description is something that you will most likely use, but don't be afraid to be a little creative if you want to have a little bit more fun with it. All right, and the last one is process and boundaries. So in my example, I have ask clarifying questions, do not make assumptions, provide structured outputs with headings and bullet points. If you are unsure, say, I don't have enough information, and do not invent policies, citations, or institutional requirements. With this, I will say that this is a very, very light version of what I would include in an AI assistant. I would probably add a section above it that is like a clear step-by-step, like questions the AI assistant will ask and possible answers it can anticipate. The more detail that you can add in this section, the more it will better facilitate the task for the audience, and then it will also help the audience through the task as well. So it's kind of twofold that it really helps. So try to get very specific in this section because this is exactly what your AI assistant will facilitate and what your audience will experience. All right, so as with all AI, there's limitations and cautions that you guys are all probably already aware of. And those are, make sure the AI is not a policy expert, it is not a subject matter authority, and is ultimately not your judgment. So best practices to keep in mind is always to review the AI, make sure it's in the correct context, and decide whether it is, worth using that AI assistant. So whenever you're creating an AI assistant, just make sure you provide clarity, structure, and make sure you ultimately judge if it is worth using in whatever task that you have in mind. So as I just said, AI is best works when it starts and ends with you. So to give you guys a little overview of when you're ready to create your AI assistant, these are the kind of steps you would take to create your own AI assistant. So the first thing is you need to identify whatever task that you have in mind. So for example, creating a syllabus. And then once you know what the task is, then you can note those aspects that we just talked about. So what is the role, who's the audience, what is the tone, and what steps, processes, boundaries should the AI know? And for this one, I like to put all of my ideas kind of in a Google Doc, so that way I have a clear place where I can just kind of brainstorm. And then once you have all those ideas noted down, then you can pick out an AI assistant that you would like to use. And in all AI assistants, they usually live on the left side of the chatbot. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. And then generally speaking, they have just a name that is derivative of the main chatbot they're using. So like ChatGPT, it's GPT. For Gemini, it's Gem, and so on and so forth. So once you picked out your AI assistant, then you can go ahead and put that information that you just noted into it and then see if it works, see if it is functioning for the task that you have in mind. And now that you guys kind of know what goes into an AI assistant and the steps that you should take to create one, it is your turn to start creating it. But don't worry, I don't plan on throwing you to the wolves. I'm actually going to give you guys a template to start creating your own. So I'll drop this in the chat so you can get a link of what it looks like. And then I'll talk to you guys quick on where you can put it into your AI assistant. So there's that, and I'll have Mike also put one in there for you. So then if you are using this in ChatGPT, let's say, for example, chat, and then let me share this tab. There we go. Okay, so if you wanted to create a GPT or a AI assistant in ChatGPT, you can go to the left side and you can go to Explore GPTs, and then there's a Create button in the top right-hand corner, and then you can start filling in the information. And usually there's a box called Instructions, and you can just copy and paste your instructions into that box. And then you can add a name, description, and if you have any documents it wants to reference, like a sheet or a PDF, then you can also put that in there as well. And then one actually bonus that I would like you to kind of keep aware of is that most of the AI assistants throughout all the chatbots are very similar to this, but ChatGPT actually started something new where you can just kind of have a conversation with the chatbot, and then it will create the AI assistant for you. And once you are ready, then it will populate it all in here, and then you can hit create, and then you have your AI assistant. The only thing with that, I would just make sure that it includes all the aspects that we just talked about, audience, role, tone, etc. And then tell it okay, I think this is good. I'm ready for you to create my AI assistant. Okay, so I know we had a little bit of technical trouble, but I hope that this presentation was informative and maybe even a little fun for you guys. And I hope that this template is very helpful for you. And also a side note on this template is this is just a great place to start. There's so many different ways you can create an AI assistant, but this will just hopefully get you started in starting to build your own and having some fun with it. All right, so if there is any questions, I would love to answer them.
Awesome. Jennifer, tell us a little bit about your experience. How did you get started creating AI assistants, and what have you found them to be most useful for?
I feel like, well, my lead into all this, like everybody else, you probably just use ChatGPT to ask little answers. And then somebody, I can't remember if I came across a video or I think somebody actually showed me of like, oh, you could create an AI assistant. I'm like, ooh, what's that? And then I just went down a rabbit hole and I kind of fell in love with how to create it and everything that goes into it. And I feel like the best ways that I've used AI assistants for is for any tasks that maybe are like super tedious to do, like creating a syllabus. It might feel a little tedious to put all of those pieces together, but then having something that kind of combines it all for you is super helpful. Or for anything that maybe I have some like knowledge gaps in. For example, I am no coder. I don't know much about code, but I've been able to set up AI assistants to be like coding experts that is guiding me through the steps. And I've been able to actually like learn coding basics and do certain things like that with an AI assistant. And that's been so helpful. So those are the best tasks that I've used it for.
That's cool. Jennifer Gidcom asks if you could please reshare the slide with instructions to the assistant to not make assumptions. If you want the slide deck, let's see if I think I have links to that I can share out for everyone.
And I think I did leave it in the files so that way you are able to share with them.
Here is the, I'm gonna go ahead and just post the link. This is the slide deck.
And in the template that I also gave you guys, you should be able to just put in like kind of plug and play, put in the like role, because I think let me share my screen real quick so you can see it. Screen share.
While you bring that up, Rana Lee asks, what excites you most about where AI is headed?
How it will streamline our lives so that way we actually have time to do stuff we're more passionate about, or streamline our creativity to be able to create stuff that we wouldn't have been able to before. Like in my coding example, I've been able to code basic things that really have been helping me in my job and kind of helping to flesh out new passions in myself that I might not have been able to find if I didn't have AI available. But for the template, it should be pretty easy to just mess around with, where you can plug and play. So you can just delete the bracketed sections and then just put your information in there. And then however you want to mess with it, it is up to you. And I did include the instructions that I had for the AI system that I used for our activity. So you can see an example if you want to take a look at that.
Awesome.